Hi guys, Michelle View here with Invictus Fitness. Today we're going to talk about the booty, which is a hot topic of conversation, and it's an area that we spend a lot of focus on. Not just the booty, but the entire posterior chain, so the backside, starting with the scaps all the way down through the lower back. The booty, of course, the hamstrings are all part of that posterior chain that is providing us a lot of power through the hips, right? And most of us, especially when we start lifting weights and doing this type of workout, are not used to using that area of the body, so it becomes weak, it shuts down, and it's an area that, that not only provides power, but also is going to support our body and our lower back from injury and pains.
Rotating to the hip.
New runner.
So a lot of people ask, how do I know if I'm getting stronger in the posterior chain? Are there any tests that I can do? So I want to give you 3 tests today. You can use any of them or all of them as kind of your starting spot. So if you wanted to do a pre-test and then spend some work for a month or 2 on your posterior and test it again, pick 1, 2, or all 3 of them, but you should be able to do all 3 of these. So the first test is called the Sorenson Test, and it's basically holding a Superman position, but with the arms crossed on the GHD. So we're going to be face down in this, and our goal is 2 minutes. All right, so I'll go ahead and set up in it. The setup is going to be the same for all of these and almost all GHD movements for all of these today for sure. And we're going to make sure that the foot rest is going to be close enough, or like the ankle hold here is what I'm actually going to use, is going to be close enough to the pad that my hips are completely in front of the pad on this, all right? So I don't want any interference because I'm going to be hinging at the hip, and if there's interference here, that's going to shorten my range of motion, or it's going to provide a little bit of the assistance that I don't want to have. So part of the purpose is to have to hold yourself up with your glutes, with your hamstrings, with your lower back, okay? So I don't want any assistance from this. So I have this set already. I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to make sure that my feet are not actually touching this back piece. All right, so I'm going to come up so that my heels are hanging off and I'm pulling with my toes here when I get into position. And this is where a lot of people kind of start to freak out. They think they might fall off or that this thing's going to tip over. This thing weighs like 500 pounds. It takes 3 people to move this. So don't worry about it tipping over, and you have handles right here. If you need to get out of it, you're just going to come up like this, okay? Don't try to ever get out of it face down, all right? So what I'm going to do, I'm in position now. I'm going to try to keep my shoulders at my hip level, cross my hands over my chest, and I'm going to hold this position for 2 minutes, okay? That's your test. So you're going to hold as long as you can, but if you make it to 2 minutes, you can stop, all right? And that's a good test of glute function. The next 2 might look pretty familiar. The first one's going to be the hip extension, and the second one will be the back extension. So for the hip extension, you should be able to do 25 consecutive hip extensions. And for these, we're making sure that the torso stays very rigid. So I'm going to start in that position that I was in for Superman, and I'm going to hinge and bend down at the hips, and then back up, using only my glutes and hamstrings to come up, and not arching with the back here at all, because that'll load up that lower back, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get those glutes and hamstrings going and test that. So I'm going to start in my Superman position, arms crossed, hinge at the hip. Neck's going to stay nice and neutral, so I'm not leading up like that. See what happens to my lower back when I do that, all right? But if I'm just squeezing with the butt, then I'm using my glutes and my hamstrings to get up versus the lower back. So you're going for 25 reps. The third test is the back extension test. Same thing, 25 reps, but this time we're going vertebrae by vertebrae to this upright position. Tuck the chin and roll back down each vertebrae. Notice that I'm starting it with a glute squeeze, okay? So that first movement is squeeze the butt and then all the vertebrae. You should be able to do 25 of these unbroken, okay? So if you decide to do all 3 tests in one day, give yourself 2 to 3 minutes rest in between. You'll definitely feel it's a workout. You can use any of these movements as supplemental work after your workout. So mix it in throughout the month and see where your test and retest is by the end, and that's a great way, besides actually measuring your booty, to measure your booty.